Marcon, what do you make of Michael Burry's prediction of ETFs being the cause of the next financial crash? Have you seen this theory?
Well,
how he says that ETFs are they're supporting a bunch of inefficiencies.
I agree. I think he's a bit more sensationalist in terms of what he's saying, but what he's saying I agree with, because when you own an ETF, what you're buying, and firstly, the strategy you're investing in is momentum, right? Because what an ETF does, they're all market capitalization weighted, which means they all weight the ETF based on the size of each company. So it's not like it will have one, and the S&P 500 won't have 1% of 500 companies in it. It'll have 20% in Apple, 15% in Google, 10% in Facebook. So it will be heavily skewed towards the top performers, right?
Yep.
Momentum based. The problem therein lies is when momentum changes. Because if momentum's always up, not a problem, because it'll just keep carrying itself up. But when momentum changes to down, then you have a problem, because there's no brakes.
Like the market at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. There's no brakes. It'll just keep going down and down and down and down and down. And then what happens is these ETFs, which own, these ETFs are huge. They're trillions of dollars, right? Well, what the ETF then needs to do is it needs to rebalance, because it doesn't just, go, oh, we've got this much Apple, this much Facebook, this much of everything, and, we'll just let it ride. They have to rebalance. When they rebalance, there's a huge amount of selling that will have to come in if the market's going down to rebalance. What that will do is create more selling pressure, and it creates a bit of a feedback loop. And because they're so big, the feedback, their effect on the market is actually quite big, especially because there's a lot of them as well. So the ETF phenomenon, I think, is a pretty big structural instability to the system. And, we've already seen an ETF get bailed out already. HYG, the Fed just came in and started saying, all right, we're going to basically secure this because it was too big of a risk to them to let run by natural market forces.
Yeah. Interesting. I like the way he communicates. I've only seen what he's said through Twitter. But it does make fundamental sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If I'm a 2% stake in an ETF, and by me I mean a company. If I'm a 2% stake in an ETF and my company is performing terribly, I could be in a really well-performing ETF that will subsidize whatever inefficiency my business isn't taken account for. And therefore, once the tide goes in, and I'm caught, being inefficient but getting the upside of this ETF because of it, I think there is a truth to the big sell-off of the ETFs, or at least the failure and crashing of ETFs. Could be the first domino in major recession. And the coronavirus could be the first domino to the major recession. Like you said, if the HYG, right? If the HYG ETF failed, then the knock-on that would have been, remarkable.
Huge.
But yeah, interesting. Definitely going to see what further comes from that.